about you was because of your makeup. Like I knew like people were like, "Oh yeah, like there's this girl Charlotte, she does makeup." And as a girl who does not know understand how to properly use
Mhm.
it, I'm always like, "Oh, that's so freaking awesome." I'm like, "What does she know that I am not possessing these skills?" I'm like admiring from afar. And obviously recently you've had your studio, which has been so incredible to see. Like I was just like, oh my god, this is so inspiring. Like go girl. I was just like, yeah, you guys are doing
Thank
magic up there.
you.
And to see like your product launch and everything, like I'm curious to know the girl. Like who is Charlotte? How does this story begin?
Oh my God. Okay, where do I start? It started in 1996. No. No, but I think I was around maybe 14 or 15, and my mom had a good friend who was like really into like makeup and hair and nails and all this kind of stuff, and she was like going through her stuff, and she like created a bag of stuff she didn't want anymore, and then she just dropped it off at our house, and the rest was history. I was like, oh my God. Like my mom kind of had knowledge of makeup and she taught me like the basics, but when I got that bag of stuff to just play with, it was like it just started from there. And around that time, like beauty gurus was really like taking off, like the beauty community of YouTube. I
Yeah.
was obsessed. Obsessed. I was obsessed with just looking at YouTube, learning how to do different things. I would literally like sit in my room after school and just film myself doing stuff and then look at it the next day and like learn,
That is awesome.
literally like look at what I did and how could I do this better and stuff, and that's how I got into it, I would say. That's how it started. So I had dreams of like being a YouTuber for a while.
I mean, why does it? It's not an end dream. We still got plenty of life to
It's
live.
like I'm finally at the point in my life where I think I can handle handle it, because I actually was on YouTube for some time, and then yeah, the student.
Come back, man. Come back. I mean, I would love to see a St. Martin makeup artist. It's like you have the whole studio. You can show the behind the scenes. Like
Yeah,
I'm seeing the whole vision. I'm seeing
yeah,
it. I'm seeing it.
yeah. There's a lot of things like in the works, but it's about getting out of your own way, I feel like, because I started YouTube and I had a bit of a following online in general, because it was like the beginning of Instagram and Facebook, and I was like, oh, so cool. And yeah, then I went away to study, and I think I just lost my way a bit, like with school. And
I mean, it's
yeah,
hard.
it's so
It's hard.
hard.
I
It's
feel
so
you.
hard. Nobody can prepare you for that.
You really can't, like, cause you're really living in a bubble, and then it just pops. But by the time you realize it, it's too late, and you're
Following.
just like,
Yep. Yeah.
wait, and then it's just like, okay, I feel
Yeah.
you 100%.
That's how it started, and then doing makeup on other people started when do you know the store Inglot on the island?
Mhm.
The owner, she actually saw me online, so she saw what I was doing online, and she asked me to work at her store.
Wow.
18 then, so I was kind of on doing it for like 3 years or whatever, and I got kind of good at it on myself. And then she asked me to work at the store, and I think I was. How old are you when you? Like, what school are you doing when you're 18? Are you graduated already? Yeah, right?
I think you're about to graduate. Well, it depends, yeah, what school you go to, right? Because some people graduate like when they're
Yeah, yeah,
16.
yeah.
I feel like if you went, like I went to LU and I graduated when I was
Right.
18. Wait,
I think I
yeah, exactly.
transitioning.
Yeah,
I was
18.
I was about to start IB, so I did
Okay.
IB because I didn't know what the hell to go study, and my mom was like, "You can do IB," and I was like, "Okay, longer. I don't know." So I did IB, and it was like the hardest thing ever. I wouldn't say I'm like a super academic person, but if I try, I can do it. You know what I mean? But child,
It was just not your thing.
it
I
was
feel
hard.
you.
And then I was working weekends at the makeup store, and that was like what I was into. I wasn't into school. And I really learned how to do makeup on other people working there, because I just got thrown in the deep end. Like people with acne, older people, darker people, lighter people, all kind of people, and you just have to know how to match foundation for them. It was a really service based store. So someone could come in and you can spend like 2 hours with them selling them products and trying stuff on them. And, it's really about the service. So I really, really learned how to do makeup on other people at Inglot. And the owner of the store she had a lot of knowledge of technique because she studied makeup. She did business and makeup, and she's like my role model still. And
That's awesome.
she really taught me a lot of technique that I never went to school for. I never did a makeup course or something. So she would just be like, "Why are you holding the brush like this? Hold it like this," like. And yeah, then I decided to go away to study, which I don't know 100% if that was the best choice for me. I kind of wanted to just do makeup school, but when you look at options for financing, you're not gonna get financing.
Yeah, study financing is definitely not giving you no check. Makeup,
Child,
they'd be like, go work in one of them salons. Like, you don't need to do that. Like, no, it's good.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
exactly. That's
guess what I
ridiculous. But yeah,
studied?
anyways,
Guess what I studied?
business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's what they tell everybody to study. I swear. Like,
yeah. So I went to Haagse Hogeschool in The Hague because my best friend was in The Hague. I was like, I want to be by her. I want to be close to her. And I did that for like a year and a half, and I was doing my YouTube career and my social media stuff. And yeah, it was really hard to like balance the two. I remember like I didn't have a good laptop, and I was just trying to like upkeep this following, but then not giving school enough attention. And I was also like so excited to be off of the island. Like I was 19 when I left, and I was like, get me the hell off of this rock. Get me off of this rock. And yeah, then I went away to study, and I couldn't, by the second year, I couldn't keep up with it anymore. Because in the first year, I was really busy with socializing. I was like, oh my God, someone from Croatia is in my class. I never met anyone from Croatia. I was a social butterfly. And I couldn't focus on school. And then I messed up classes for not going and stuff like that. And then by the second year, it got really intense because I thought it was so easy after coming from IB. And then by the second year, I couldn't keep up anymore. So I was like, okay, damn, I gotta either switch, either drop out, I gotta do something. And that was really, really hard for me. I think around that time was like the lowest point in my life thus far because I had like a emotionally abusive relationship going on. I had the school thing. I had like losing my way with my creative side and stuff like that. And then everyone was kind of like, "So what are you going to do?" And I'm like, "Wow, my whole life my parents were like, do this, do that, and then all of a sudden it's all on me, you know?"
yeah, I feel you. I feel you. You're just like, can I catch a break? Like,
Right?
I went from just watching cartoon on the weekend to wait, I have to plan. Oh my
Yeah,
god, meal prep,
yeah.
do all this extras.
Finances, girl, don't talk to me about finances. I'm still trying to get a grip of finances. Like,
Hey, I'm here to help. So I want all my friends to be financially just thriving. So, got any questions? Your girl is
did
here.
you
Okay, I'm here to
did you
help.
study
So,
finance?
no, I don't. I studied engineering. It's a completely just, but it's all math. It's literally the one thing I didn't think it would be for some reason, and it was 100% math. But
Really?
I live in the US, and so like now being in corporate, a lot of it is like you get like a lot of financial education in a way. So it's like I'm trying to get to my financial independence ASAP.
Period.
But anywho,
Same.
back to what you were saying.
Yeah, so then I made the decision to switch. So I switched to communications, international communications management. And as it was a 3-year course, by the way, so it was a bit shorter too. So I was like, okay, I didn't lose that much time because the first one was 4 years. And I switched, and as soon as I like met my class, I was like, okay, cool, I can do this. It was way more creative based, and everyone was like, one person was singing and one person did this. Like business was so competitive. People would come to school with like suits on. I was like, this is not for me. This is not it.
Like they're taking this a little bit too
Yeah,
seriously.
so competitive. I was like, I cannot, I'm gonna, no, no, I can't, you know? So then I did communications. It was a bit easier as well. Um, yeah, and then what was that? That was like my second year, third year, and then I totally dropped everything creative. I don't necessarily know why, but I just lost the funk for it, or I don't know. I kind of felt like I wanted to, like, I didn't want attention on me anymore for some reason. I think it had to do with the relationship I was in as well. Like, I had my privacy threatened. So I was just like, I don't want to be seen.
I feel
And
you.
I,
That's totally not okay.
yeah. And I think, I gained a lot of weight as well that year from just being a student and not knowing what to eat and just everything. And I was seeing myself on videos and just feeling like, ugh, I don't like how I look. It was just a combination of everything. So I was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna do YouTube anymore. Like, I don't want to do it anymore. So then I took like maybe 2 years or almost 3 years not posting, kind of being low key and stuff. And then I moved out of my apartment, so that was like a big step for me. I was in like a little studio, and the four walls get very small, start closing.
I feel
They
you.
start
There's
closing.
not a lot of space.
Yeah, so I moved in with a good friend of mine, and we were pretty like-minded. We studied the same thing, and we wanted to do like some business endeavors together and projects together and stuff. So that's what we tried to do. But living with a friend is also not the best idea. So that also went really bad. So that was like 2 years we did that. I'm really bad at time, so my chronological order of things might be off, but
Like this is how I remember it, and that's all that matters.
I think this is how it went. I don't know. Don't quote me on this. But yeah, so we did that, and then I started like posting again and putting myself out there again. And then I started doing jobs again. I also had a lot of anxiety about doing makeup jobs, and I think I felt pretty disconnected with the title of a makeup artist at a certain point, because people would like put people from the island, they put you in a box as soon as
Yeah,
you're a
exactly.
dancer, that's what you are, like, why are you not doing that? That's what you are, you know what I mean? And I always was interested in like the bigger vision of production, photo shoots, creative direction. I didn't understand that that's what I wanted to do. So I made that realization maybe a year ago. And before that, I was just like, it's not giving. Like, makeup is not giving anymore. It's not exciting to me. Like, I felt small as a makeup artist, and it's such hard work, but you get such little recognition for it. People don't understand how important a face of makeup can be to a commercial, to a whatever. It's so freaking important, and makeup artists get crumbs. I was like, I don't want to do this. So yeah, I kind of made the realization a year ago, and that kind of led me to getting the studio. I feel like I'm missing a part of the story, but I think that's what led me to it. I actually was thinking about moving back home. Like, I didn't want to be in Holland anymore. But then I said, okay, let me move out, resituate myself, and try having my own studio and just working part time. So then I worked at Douglas, which is like a perfume slash makeup store in the Netherlands. It wasn't great, but I was just working part time and it was locked down. This is like 2021. But the studio really gave me life. That was like, it's been so fun.
It looks bomb. Like I'm like I need to go to the Netherlands just to go in the studio. Like I want my makeup to get
Oh my
done.
god. Thank you.
And like it looks like such a fun experience to be in there. Like it just seems like a whole vibe. Like and to be with other creative people creating, I'm like that's like the best feeling. Like
Yes.
I don't know. Like when you're in that zone, like
There's
it's
nothing,
beautiful.
nothing like it. Like that feeling that I get when I'm like doing a shoot or planning for a shoot or whatever. I know that makes me know, okay, I'm on the right path. Because I don't get that feeling from anything else. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's really fulfilling. It's a lot of hard work though. And I'm doing like everything with like zero budget. So, yeah, it actually Dreamfish Studio was Moonfish Studio before. I don't know if you followed then already.
I think so. But I honestly I'm not 100%, so I can't even know. I know I follow Dreamfish for sure now, but I feel like I did before, but yeah, who knows? I have no way to prove
Yeah,
it, so
yeah. It started as Moonfish. Like it Dreamfish Studio, the account on Instagram was actually my personal account. Now I remember the part that I missed. Um, and that was around the time where I was like, ugh, I don't want to be online. I don't want to show myself, you know? So then I was like, okay, I'll change it to like this studio where I post my work. And I did it. My partner was Kylo Chance. Maybe you saw him. He does pictures as well. He's super talented. He sketches and he's into styling and fashion, and that's kind of like what I know a bit less about. So we kind of met up at around that time and we were like, let's just do shoots for fun, like we started shooting myself, and then we would just ask people like, "Hey, this is the concept. Are you down?" Like just literally just for fun, and we would post it, and it started like getting some traffic and people started like asking about it, asking to shoot and stuff. So I saw like potential for a business, and I was a bit more driven to like turn it into a business. But then we had different visions for it, so then we decided to like split ways. So then I did it on my own. So it went from Moonfish Studio to Dreamfish Studio because we got Moonfish from our zodiac sign. So he's a Cancer and I'm a Pisces. And I did Dreamfish because I feel like I'm just a dreamy kind of person, and I wanted.
I like the
Thank
vibe. I'm
you.
telling you. The aesthetic is like I'm just like take my money. I don't know. It's
Really?
just like so it's beautiful. Like I love it. I love it. Like I love it. It's so beautiful. Like it's a work of art. Like and I'm just like, you see how talented my people are. I'm like St. Martiners. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this is just stunning. It's so incredible. Like it's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Literally. I don't know what else to say. I'm like, it's just amazing. Like literally. Go check it out. Like I'm not even lying. It is amazing.
That means a lot to me because as a creative, you're constantly like doubting what you're doing, or you're like, oh, it needs this or it needs that, but you don't see it from other people's eyes. So
No, I love it. Like I literally I'm just like so inspired by the work that you guys do. Like when you guys were like promoting the calendar, I was like the whole time I'm just like itching. I'm like, can someone just show me what's in it? Like I'm just like itching. I'm like, can I want to see pictures?
I
Like
still haven't revealed it.
I know. That's why I've just been like sitting here just like so they just gonna hold out on a girl, you just gonna you're gonna swing it in my face. I can't buy it because I'm all the way over here, but then I can't even see it. And I'm like this whole time y'all are rubbing in all the background scenes and everything. I'm like, this looks so cute. It's such a vibe. Like I'm loving all of it. Like I'm just like, ooh, every time I'm like, ooh, yes,
Where do
yes.
you
and then I don't see the final thing.
Where do you live?
Washington, USA.
Oh, damn. But I'm trying to like get a few of the copies to St. Martin, so maybe we could do something.
I feel you. I feel you. But I'm curious, like, I want to ask about the calendar, but I first actually had a thought, like, because as a makeup artist, I felt like when I ever had makeup where I like had to find foundation as like biracial, you always have to mix your foundation or like it just doesn't really look
Hmm.
right. So I'm curious, like, how your journey has been, like, as someone that's biracial. I feel like in the makeup industry, there's a lot of like just talk about diversity and inclusion and having like makeup artists that are able to do makeup on darker skin tones or pretty much just across skin tones really is the require like what people are asking for. What your journey has been, especially like finding brands that actually work well on different
Hmm.
pigments and all of that.
Well, I think working at the store, working at Inglot was really like a crash course in like how to work on darker skin than mine. Because obviously on the island it's more black people, darker skinned people. And yeah, I honestly like fell in love with it. I find it a bit more interesting sometimes than my own color because you can do so much more, I think. And Inglot has a very wide variety of shades. It's kind of like at the standard of MAC, I would say, but I think it's a bit nicer. But I'm a bit biased, obviously. But I definitely see growth when it comes to like companies' diversity and the inclusion that they have and that they market themselves that way. But I think it's positive because when I look at like when I first got into makeup versus now, like you'll get canceled tomorrow, if you don't have more shades, you know what I mean? But
I
I
feel.
still also see a lack thereof, like in the Netherlands, for example. At the store I was working at, the store is located in Rotterdam Zuidplein, which is like predominantly black, a black area, and they would not have shades. And when people would come in the store, they would point them to me because I have makeup knowledge, and then I have to tell them, hey, sorry, we don't have it. Like, what? You don't want to make money? You know what I mean? It's just so I don't know, so stupid and weird to me. Like, why would you not include that? um yeah, I forgot what the question was.
No, I guess like so it was like just asking like even like your experiences like finding the right foundation for
Yeah,
yourself or
yeah,
like yeah, being able to feel I guess cuz I also always struggle with like finding like other people whose makeup I feel like I could copy on myself cuz like I have no clue what to do, but like every time I find a makeup look that I like really it's typically on a woman that's not even close. So it's like that
yeah.
look is not going to translate
True.
the same. I'm curious, like, how yeah, you were able to at least find, like, what worked for you and just, like, find products in a situation where, like, back in the day, there wasn't really as many options to go and find the right shade for
Yeah.
you or, yeah, other biracial or colored women.
Well, personally, I really change color in the winter. Like right now I'm still pretty light from in Holland. So I literally have two foundations. So one from for like summertime or when I'm in St. Martin, and then one for when I'm in the Netherlands. And as my color changes, I kind of like transition or sometimes I even mix. And it also helps to like have the right concealer because then you can lighten it up more or make it darker. So that's what I do personally, but I think from my own experience, my shade is usually where most makeup brands like cut off, and then darker tones are more scarce, I feel like. So I know that struggle because I help people. I do makeup on other people, so I look for those colors. But I think a big thing that helps, or at least I recommend it to people, is like find an influencer that looks like you and just study what they do. Because right now, look at the diversity we have online. There is somebody for everybody online now. A few years
Yeah, I
ago,
feel.
we were struggling. But right now we're kind of getting there. We're getting there, you know? So I think that's a key thing. Like I remember once when I was working at the store, this lady, she asked me kind of the same question, like, how do I do this? Like I only see white women on online, and like I want to do a cute eye look, but I don't know how it's gonna look on my color and stuff. I was like, girl, just type in smoky eye black woman, red lipstick black girl. You know what I mean? Just write it. And she was like, really? Like she's like, online I only see white women. I'm like, you gotta like literally search for what it is. People use hashtags. People are like so inventive nowadays. You can find like anybody online. So it's about knowing what to do, I feel like. Because it's
I feel you.
yeah,
Knowing what to look
yeah.
for. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's what it is, I think.
Sweet. And like, so when how did this idea for like the calendar arise? Because I'm assuming a partnership between you and another individual,
Correct.
and like since you mentioned like you're more interested in like taking a creative director, when you said that, I had like a vision of like for some reason like you like being in this like what is her name? The lady that runs Vogue.
Anna Wintour. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but like for like Saint Martin or like the Caribbean, but kind of like that vibe. I had like a vision of that, like you in that kind of a
I would
role. But yeah, I'm
I
curious.
would live to be. That's like my goal, Loki. Um,
Do it. Do
yeah,
it. I'm telling you, I saw it. I was like when you said it, I saw it, but I was like, okay. But yeah, I'm curious like were you that role for the calendar, or were you also like the makeup artist and
yeah.
stylist and
So for the calendar, I wore several hats. The main one was creative director, I would say. So the other brand that I collaborated was Moonflower Mystic. It's Kristen, so she's actually who I share the studio with. So I found the studio myself online, and I was like, who would I want to like share it with? You know, somebody I want somebody. First of all, it was too expensive to do on my own, so I was like, let me ask Kristen. Like, she's a childhood friend, and I knew she was into like videography, maybe photography a bit. So I asked her, and she was like, okay, cool. Like, I'll come to the viewing with you. Like, what's the address? And I told her the address, and she's like, girl, that's where I work. So it's a huge building that they kind of, usually they take old buildings and they make office spaces or whatever. So it's literally downstairs from where she works, and she works for like a super cool media startup company who's doing really well right now.
that's live.
So we got to use all of their equipment. Shout out to Holland Park Media. We got to use all of their equipment for the calendar shoot. And this is like $1,000 like cameras that I would never even touch, you know what I mean? So it was just a really good, everything just aligned really well. And we early on when we got the studio, we were like walking through the market looking for fabric or something. And she was like, wouldn't it be cool if we made like a calendar or something? Like she just said that. And then I was like, that would be pretty cool. Because I recently watched the documentary on Playboy, which is really good. Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
It's so good. It's on Prime. But it basically explains the whole story of the company and how they started doing calendar shoots, blah blah blah, whatever. And she said that idea, and we went home that night, and then we just voice noted each other for hours, like, oh my god, what if we did this, and then we could include brands, and we could do this, and it was a perfect project to kind of show like what we could do, you know. And it was very intense. It was 12 shoots. Every concept we basically came up with it, yeah, on our own. I was like the creative visual for it. We took zodiac signs as our main inspiration for each month because it worked well with her brand. So each month kind of has the energy of each zodiac sign, let's say. And I had a pretty like wide variety of people who've been asking me to work together, or like people that I always looked up to and I wanted to work with them. So I kind of was like, boom, this is the time, like I can ask this person to do hair, I can ask this person to do makeup, whatever. And yeah, I was the main makeup artist, but I tried to include other people and other people for hair. I did most of the styling. We included another friend of Kristen, well, her cousin actually. She is really into set design, so she did a lot of the set and just assisted with everything. And
That sounds
we just
amazing.
did it.
Like a whole literal production crew, and I'm like this is just incredible.
Yeah, thank you for for just giving me that confirmation, because it was so much work. Like I'm kind of like, I think I came very close to a burnout towards the end, because it was like you do all this shooting. Oh yeah, now you gotta edit it. Oh yeah, now you gotta design the calendar. We designed the calendar from scratch. Kristen designed it. We were like at 4 a.m. on FaceTime, like choosing fonts. You know what I mean? It was so much work. And then yeah, it was just dealing with my personal life as well. And I was just like, okay, I need a break. So that's why I'm here now.
No, that like I honestly I've been noticing like I am so happy to see like St. Martin's feel so inspired to create, and like so I could only imagine how much work went into that, because like I'm even when I work on my projects, like I just be here stressed out, because it's not, you have a vision in mind and you want it to be like as close to
Hmm.
that as possible, and so it's like I can only imagine the amount of like detail and intention that goes into making sure that it looks a certain way, that when people open it, they have a specific
Yeah,
impression of what it is that you're trying to capture, and involving other people in that journey so that everybody benefits from it. Like that, like why wouldn't that be like why shouldn't that be celebrated? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like I'm like we need more. I'm like I what's next? I'm like keep it coming, like the last thing I want is for you guys to burn out. I'm like no, this is just the beginning, honey. Like we are on a path to building something, and I'm like yeah, it's so beautiful to just see like your creativity, because I'm like well damn, like this is the vision that these people have. Like that is incredible. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because I'm like, crap, I want to, okay. Then I'm like, cool. It's like, then I think about like all different things that I could do to help that person grow, or like talk to them and like collaborate in the future, or just
yeah,
like inspire them to do something different that has the potential to go out and help other people. And it's like, we all benefit from that. Like, why not? It's fabulous. I love it. Love it. I'm like, oh, it was so, I was just like,
thank
incredible.
you, thank you
Incredible.
so much. It's so nice to hear. To
I bet. I mean, I bet, because it's like you work so hard.
Yeah, and people, not
It's nice for
everyone
people to
gets
see
it.
it.
Not
Yeah.
everyone gets it, I feel like. And I think being like a creative director on a small scale is pretty hard to like be hired for that. Like I'm still trying to figure out my brand and what it is, and what skills am I missing, and how can I market myself. And like it's like, if let's say people in my target audience, they don't have that much budget to like have a creative director and a photographer and a makeup artist, you know what I mean? So that's a like kind of where I'm at now, figuring out like, okay, how can I market myself to a target audience that's above me a bit, or like, it's a work in progress, honestly.
I feel. And I think like it's hard to see, I feel like when you're in the beginning of a journey, like where you're headed, because you're kind of like, oh shit, like what did I get myself into? Now I have to keep up this reputation. Now people expect this level of work. What if but I feel like it's just one of those things that you just have to find, like for you, like you get joy out of being in that process of seeing it all come together and the beauty captured and all of that. And it's like holding that to be like the
Hmm.
fuel more than anything. I feel like yeah, you guys are gonna, I can't wait. Like it's so exciting. Like literally when you said production, like I had another vision, And it was like I there's this design show on Netflix. I can see if I can remember what it is. I'll send it to you. I feel like you'll like it. But there was this I feel like one episode where they were talking about this lady who was a production like creative
Mhm.
director, and she designs the concerts for like Kanye, Beyonce, Jay-Z.
Oh,
Like she like designs like literally like the production, like the look of
yeah.
it, the actual like experience that fan will get in the
Mhm.
audience to capture the album. And I was like, I could see you
That's
doing
she's
that
a
too. I was
job.
like, you have no idea.
That's
Like imagine like I could see like you're in the Netherlands, you and Gilda. Gilda's like comes out with a single. He's like, okay, Charlotte, I wanna, have a concert for the
mhm.
people and I want you to design like the aesthetic or whatever. And it's like, like it starts somewhere, It's
I
just
would do
like
that. I would do that 100%. It's hard because it's like a non-conventional route. So you
yeah,
kinda
exactly.
have to get in where you fit in, and that's like the struggle I feel like of being a creative, but it's also like the beauty of being a creative. So I'm gonna watch that show. You better tell me
Yeah, yeah.
what
Cause like in it, like you were talking about picking out typography and like my heart just sang cause like I love I don't know. It's like one of those weird things that it's like, why do you like
Yeah.
typography? I love design. So it's like typography is such a big part of copyright and people don't really understand the role that typography has in like their experiences of products and
Mhm.
like or like just posters or like vinyl, like copyright and typography is so important. So like when you were thinking that, I was like, I could only imagine that meeting of like, no, not that font,
Yeah,
not that font, not that
yeah.
font. Cause when I pick fonts for my things, I'm hella picky about it. And all I'm thinking about is the damn typography.
Literally, it's so many little things, and then when by the time the consumer gets it, it's like 5 minutes or a minute. Now,
It's like, did they even notice it?
right? It's like, oh, it's so painful and so fulfilling at the same time, you know. And Kristen, working with Kristen has been like also such a learning process because she has such vast knowledge about technology and cameras and equipment and all this stuff that I'd had no idea about, you know? So working with her as well about lighting and what feeling a light can give, a color can give. She's such a hard worker. I'm like, damn, I'm not.
I love it.
Yeah, she just is a great person and a great creative as well. So it's also about like working with the right people, the people who can like fill you rather than take away from you, you know? That's also really, really important. And yeah, yeah, it's been a process.
I
Yeah.
feel. But it's interesting because it's like you talk about like having this emotional journey where like you weren't always feeling your best, but it's like and I'm realizing more and more that I talk to people that all of my assumptions about every human that I think of is like 100% inaccurate in like every way. Like, so like you're talking about how you were like feeling sad and like my mental image of Charlotte is like a gorgeous, like entrepreneurial badass. And I'm like, here, like she's talking about how she was sad. And I was like, wait, she gets sad? Like,
How? No.
I'm like, where?
That's the thing. Everyone feels like the other person is doing better. But now I'm literally like, when you have to just change your way of thinking by just telling yourself, no, everybody feels like shit. No, everybody thinks they're ugly or whatever. Everyone feels down sometimes, and then using that as like, okay, so I don't have to feel like I'm alone, or I don't have to keep struggling, or just have this victim narrative. I can step out of that even when I feel like it,
Exactly.
like shit. So yeah, that's funny. That's funny.
I swear, like every time I'm like, I talk to people and I'm like, this whole time I'm like, I'm thinking they're like just
Right?
powerhouses. And then they tell me that they have bad days too. And I'm like,
We're all human.
well, damn.
Mhm. Yep.
Cause it's like, yeah, nobody's perfect. Like I sit here and I be stressing about the most irrelevant thing. Or like, yeah, I'll have moments where I'm like, I know I'm cute, but I'll look at myself and I'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
why you look so,
So
you
do you,
know, like why this
do
isn't.
you also have like you look at a picture of yourself from like 2 months ago and you're like, oh my god, I'm so cute. But when you took the picture, you're like, yeah,
Yeah, you're like, I'm not feeling it. This is not the one. Next.
yeah,
Keep yeah, I feel you. Or like I just like I get so anxious about it that I don't really take too many photos because I know like I'm gonna judge it. So I'm just
yes,
like, you know what?
yes.
You're gonna have to see it in real life to know what you're getting.
But that's the thing too, like with the kind of career path that I want to take, I kind of have to like force myself out of that.
I feel
That's like
you.
that's the part of the journey I'm at now. Just stepping out of this and just pushing forward. Nobody
I feel
cares.
you. I feel like 100% the same because it's like I you're talking about like I'm not gonna go find your YouTube channel because now I've been trying to find all the St. Martin or YouTube channel so I can follow them on like my YouTube channel because I'm trying to build one, but I'm
Yeah.
like I'm so nervous. Like every time I get in front of the camera, I psych myself out that like I can't just say what I want to
Mm,
say, and so then I'm like struggling with that, or I'm judging how I look in the camera when I'm like, Harsha, nobody's gonna look at you the way you're looking at you.
exactly.
Can you
Just get it.
please just finish the
Yeah.
video? And I'm like, no, 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 it's not. Mm-mm. My hair looks too frizzy in that shot. No, they're gonna think I'm a hobo. I don't know.
It's annoying, and it's all just conditioning society.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're the thing. It's and but it's like yeah, it's that is the internal struggle that I feel like that is like the thing that nobody sees, but it's like it's really
Yeah.
there, and you gotta overcome.
Yeah. So do you want to do like video podcast?
I would like to in the future, but the thing is like I feel like the reason that I didn't do it from the get-go was because one, I was still trying to figure out like what I want my podcast feel to be, like even just figuring out like what was my aesthetic or my sound that I felt like really captured my vibe,
Hmm.
but then I also live in like a small ass apartment in like you have a studio, I don't have a studio of any kind. Even though I probably could I feel like rent out here is just
Yeah.
overpriced, Charlotte.
Yeah.
It's just expensive for no
Yeah.
reason. And so I do it out of my apartment, and so I don't know. I feel like I wanna have, like, a studio, so it's like a vibe when you think of, like, the podcast, like, I want it to look a specific way that I would rather just wait until then, and then I can really have what I want. Because like, I have, like, particular visions that I have for, like, things that I want, so I want it to look a certain way, like, like, when you're like, you have a feel you want it to have,
Hmm.
and if I don't get there, I'm just, like, a little just it, like, ticks at you because 'cause you're like, "Crap, it's
Trust me,
not
I know.
it's
I
not
know.
where it is." Like, it's just like, like, everybody doesn't see it, everybody still thinks it's good, but you're like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. That's kind of what I had with the studio too. Like it looks good online, but it needed a lot more work. It needs a lot more work. So we actually took a break from it. So it's kind of like temporarily being closed, which I haven't like announced yet or spoke about, but we kind of decided like because of COVID in the Netherlands, like it's just bleh, it's so bad.
Yeah, it's making it hard for
Yeah,
you to.
and just it needs a lot more investment, and I want to focus on the online presence a bit more this year, and then move on because it was kind of just like trying something out. But it did facilitate like the calendar, so it's not like we lost anything from it, but I don't think we're there yet to have a nice studio with nice equipment and rent it out and stuff. And that's kind of what I was trying to do. But yeah, I'm kind of like recalculating everything.
I
Yeah.
feel you. You just wanna build a strong
Yeah.
foundation, and I think that makes, like, a lot of sense, like, I feel like, no matter what venture it is, like, you're learning, it's a journey, it's only over when you're like, "I'm not gonna work on this anymore," like, that's literally it, so it's like, hey, we're gotta go back to build back stronger. Do what you gotta do. It's just like the vision is still there, no matter what you call it. Like that essence that you're trying to build, like that's not going anywhere. And I feel like that's like that's it. That's what I am like in awe of or inspired by every time. Cause I'm like, whatever mind that's building this vision, I 100% I see it. I feel it. It's like high five, even though I can't you don't know I'm high fiving you, but it's like in my brain, I'm like, high five, awesome freaking fellow human. I'm like,
Yes.
yes,
Same for
yes.
you with your cool podcast and stuff. That it also takes balls, like to even just have your voice. Some people are so I was so insecure about my voice online as well. Like, did you have that as well, or isn't it that bad, or it's not that bad?
I will say in the beginning of the podcast, it definitely took me a minute to just feel comfortable to talk because well, and I still think I struggle with it because like I feel like we live in a world where you can't really say stuff anymore. Like just a lot of like if you say anything and it's like slightly controversial, you're dead, you know. That's like it's like this just the game that we're playing and it's really annoying. And I feel like I only notice it leaving St. Martin. I don't think St. Martin is like that at all.
No,
St. Martin is very much you say whatever the
they still
hell.
say
They
whatever.
say some of the most reckless shit. Oh my god. Woo. Like the most reckless. Um but I love it because at least it's honest, you know what I mean? But like in the rest of the world you can't walk, you have to walk a very tight line.
Mm-hmm.
And so as much as like it took me a minute to feel comfortable to just be me on the mic and not feel like I was forcing it.
Yeah.
I still feel like I have to walk this tightrope because there are things that I want to talk about, but I feel like maybe people aren't ready to really talk about. So it's like I'm gonna leave it for another day. You know, why ruin people's day today with just like an opinion? So,
Exactly.
but I don't know. I'm more nervous with people seeing me than I am people
Are you,
hearing me for some
interesting.
reason. Yeah.
Are you like super opinionated?
I wouldn't I mean, people would say people that know me would say
Mm,
yes. So I feel like I would say yes just cuz like I would be lying if I said I don't have opinions. I do have opinions, but for me like it's not that I want to be like, "Oh, my opinion is right, blah blah blah. You have to listen to
yeah.
me. You're wrong." No. I more look at it as like I'm trying to understand the world that I live in. I'm trying to be able to flourish in this
Mm,
world and I'm trying to move towards my well-being, but I'm also trying to move towards the truth. Like I don't want to just be alive because I'm completely delusional
mm,
about how my life is going and that somehow makes it okay for me to get out of bed every day. No. I want to actually be thriving in my life, so it's like I need to be grounded in truth
mhm,
but still like have the ability to have my experiences. And so I have my opinions just based on like what I have learned in this life, or but who knows? Because we're all just conscious beings, and half of life is like a dream, and we don't even, you know, when we die, nobody's gonna remember. You know, it's just what we experience. So it's like I'm open to talk. That's why I love the podcast because I want to talk to people and understand where they're coming from and understand like why they think what they think because I feel like especially in the states everything is like hella polarized, people trying to fight,
yeah.
like there's no conversation, they just want to cancel people or like just completely just write them off, and I'm like that's a lazy way to deal with these issues. Like we need to, even if we don't agree, we should be able to talk about it and understand each other's point of view so that we are better people because we can understand where other people are coming
For
from.
sure.
So it's like I have my opinions, but if you have a better opinion and you can prove to me why, then I might change mine.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I don't know. I feel like people always are like, "Oh, like of course you're always so brave and you speak your mind." And I'm like, I'm also I feel like I consider myself an introvert. So I'm like I'm surprised when people think like I'm so like just outspoken because I'm like you guys are only seeing a tip of the iceberg. But okay.
Exactly. Hmm. I feel like, mm, well, maybe before a bit more than now, but I've always been a person that like tried to fit in
Hmm.
and like
I understand that.
I was
Yeah.
never really a like strong opinion or strong-willed, strong-willed maybe because if I set my mind to something, I get it done. But I don't like confrontation. I
Me
hate
neither.
conflict. So I just sometimes I'm just like, okay, that's what you think, cool. Like I rather not like say how I feel, or maybe I get swayed by other people easily as well. And I feel like that has to do with like being biracial, Loki, because you're two things. You're never one thing, you know. So you kind of want to fit in on both sides in a way. And I
I
feel
see
like
what you
that had a
mean.
lot to do with like I've only put this piece together recently. Like I didn't understand why I was like that, but now I kind of think that has a lot to do with it, Loki.
That's
Yeah,
interesting. Cause like I'm also biracial. I don't know if you knew that, but like my dad's Indian, my mom is black. I mean, I feel like you could look at me and tell, but some people, some people think I'm Ethiopian. It's always interesting. I don't know. I can see it, but
I can see that
no,
too.
I'm not. So, but yeah, but it's interesting because it's like you were saying, like you feel like you have to choose. I get that because it's like you can't. I was never 100% Indian, and most Indians are, so you're already an other, from the get
Yeah.
go. At least with like my black side of the family, it wasn't really ever a big deal. I feel like I was just me,
Mhm.
for the most part. And so it's just been interesting because it's like I always grew up with my parents holding like their ideologies as like, hey, this is what we were grown up with, and you decide what works for you.
Yeah.
And so like I think they gave me the freedom to like determine for myself like very much what I wanted to believe. And then they always supported me in like whatever crazy belief I had, so that I always like I knew like I could argue because my parents had my back, like my parents were still A1. They were
Yeah.
like,
They were right or die.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Like raising a child to like just support them in what they want to do. And I feel like I kind of missed that a little bit in my upbringing. Or like, I can't really remember a point in time where my parents said, like, hey, so you guys are mixed. It can come with this. Or like, you are still black. You are this. You are, I didn't, it wasn't
Yeah.
really something we ever discussed, to be honest. And I feel like in school I kind of just went through all of it on my own, and I mostly had black friends and I was just the white girl. So I kind of like went through my childhood like either proving that I was trying to prove that I was black, or like trying to fit in, or like people somehow associated like my skin tone with me having money, and that was not the case. So I was just like, actually, no, I'm also struggling, but okay, like just
They were just like, she's too pretty to
yeah,
be poor.
she's white, she rich, like things like that, and
I feel you. I had that too with the whole you're Indian, so you must be wealthy. And I'm like, my parents are actually just, small business owners struggling to
yeah,
make it
yeah,
work, but cool.
yeah, like it the finding my identity is like it's a process that is still happening. I feel like because of that. And like when I went away to study, when I went to the Netherlands, people were like, "Oh yeah, so it's donker." Like they say dark for like anything that's not white, So I was like, "Oh, okay." Or like for example, I met my class and there was an African girl, like a dark skinned African girl, and she was like, "Oh my god, I'm so happy there's another black girl." And I was like, "Oh my god, she recognizes me as black," like stuff like that.
She's like, she thinks I'm
Yeah,
black. Oh my God, this is a
she
revelation.
sees it in me where like on the island, if you're not darker, like you're not black. Like people would look me in my face and say you're not black. So it was
They bull with
they
it too.
bold,
They really
they're
are.
very bold. They're like, "Whoa, you're from here?" Like, "Oh my god, I swear you were like white, fully white." I'm like, "What?" So it makes you question your identity and yourself so much to to the
Yeah.
point where you don't want to claim anything, or like I feel like that made me not opinionated in a way. Like I didn't want to step on anyone's toes, and now I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, fuck that, you know. So that's
That's awesome. Join the clan. Say it loud and proud, you know, like I think it's good. Like I'm happy that you are at least like you're on that journey to figuring out who you are, and I definitely see myself in your journey because I do think like growing up biracial you do struggle a lot cuz you're trying to please both sides. Like they both have their expectations of
mhm,
you, and it's hard cuz you're like damn, I really don't even want to do either. Like can I just do me though?
exactly.
And it definitely is a struggle because I think parents just honestly they just try their best. You know, they're kids too. I feel it. Like I look back and I'm like, wow,
That's what you notice in your 20s. It's like, oh, your
yeah,
parents are not like the almighty. They don't know everything. They're just trying something out, you know? So that's I think that's a part of growing up, realizing like no one has it figured out. You just have to try your best, you know? Which is sad and hard.
it's funny because then sometimes when I look at adults, I'm like, you look old, but you really a child. So I'm not gonna
Yeah,
take what you said seriously
that's
because you may look grown, but
yeah.
you struggling, Brody. You really are. You need to go to therapy. Damn.
Have you come to the point where you've given your parents advice, or like you have?
Yes, I manage my parents' investments. Like, you know, like
Oh my God.
we thrive it over here. Like, I'm like at that point, like yeah, exactly. It's wild. It really is. But you know, team effort. I appreciate them for carrying the torch this far, and now I can help carry it a little bit. You
Yeah.
know, get things solid.
Mhm.
But I can't. I definitely can't. I'm so grateful to have grown up in St. Martin, even though I would have much rather that over anything else. Even though they are crazy, I love them because they're
Mhm.
my crazy, you know?
Yeah. And oddly enough, you do get like a crash course on like being in a diverse environment, even though there is a lot of ignorance on the island. Like when I went away, it wasn't really like, oh, you know, it was like, okay, I know like Indian people, Chinese people, like I grew up around these people, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
exactly. You're like, I know
yeah,
you.
we're
Cool,
we know each
cool.
other.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's weird because like the rest of the world, I feel like always preaches about diversity. So I just had this idea that everywhere it was like St. Martin, but then you don't realize like St. Martin is diversity like packed into 37 square
Yeah,
miles versus the entire United States. So you have people where they can all congregate in one area and they all look the same. And so you have diversity, but it's not really diversity. It's just
people like
there's people here
co-living, but not actually like that.
integrating. Yeah, like where your neighbor doesn't look like you, and then your other neighbor on the other side also doesn't look like you. Like, and they have completely different beliefs, and you can all still be
Mm,
neighbors. And when hurricane time come, you gonna bring the bucket of water from the cistern because
exactly. But
we thirsty out here in these
it's also
streets.
like, what does a Saint Martiner look like? That's the
I hate this question because I know exactly what they want the answer to be, and those people I want to punch in the face. Like, I'm just like, can y'all shut
right.
up? I can understand there's phases of St. Martin
Mhm.
people, but if they really want to pull that origin card, I feel like the real St. Martiners are the people that don't even call St. Martin, and they're Arawak, you know, native Indians that are so diluted in the bloodline now that there are only a few people that could actually say, yes, my family is actually
Yeah,
native. The rest of us were either forced to be brought here or we moved here at some point in time from within the region or from
yeah,
abroad. So it's like we're a melting pot. We should embrace our immigrant nature, understand that what we have in common is this beautiful island and the fact that we're so honest and open with one
yeah.
another and we want a better life for each other. And if you can commit to that, hey, you a Saint Mariner to
Exactly.
me, brethren. Like I could care less.
Period. Well said. Well said. Yeah, cause like my mom is her parents are Dutch, but they had her on the island and her siblings. So she grew up also she like went to MPC and she's like blonde hair, blue eyed, but she's like Saint Martin to the core. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
also
When people look at her, they see white woman and she opens her mouth and they're like, "Wait, what?"
exactly. But even on the island too, like my mom knows a lot of people on the island, but there are still people that think she's a tourist, and then she just like "Brakadakadakada," and they're like, oh, you know,
She one of
yeah,
us? I feel
you
you.
know. So it's a beautiful thing, I think, because it just shakes everything up. The island, how we are on the island, is nothing makes sense, and it's great.
It's beautiful. I love it. It's like a symphony of chaos and it's like
Yeah.
beautiful. All it's just I love it. I couldn't ask for anything more, which is why like I'm so grateful because it's like it births creatives like you know, it births people with a vision like yours, and it's like that is to me what is so valuable, and it's like that's what I wish like other people on St. Martin realize, because then they would be more empowered to create and
Mhm.
like have their voices be heard and tell their story because they have such a beautiful story to tell.
Mhm.
And it's like we need to be working together to share all of our stories. So when people think about the Caribbean, they think about St. Martin first, not Jamaica and Trinidad, and then, oh yeah, St.
Mhm.
Martin. No, when they think about, oh, where do you find out about what's going on in the Caribbean? They listen to our
Yeah,
podcasts, they watch our
exactly.
YouTube channels, they see they buy our brands. Like, why not? I just don't understand. Anything that's stopping us is us limiting
Yeah,
ourselves from
yes.
creating. Like,
But I think it's also lack of resources, because how much of the how much money is the government putting towards a art school, or like where is the art school? Where is the dance school? Like they're
the theater they've been promising from ever ever
so
amen, you
that's the
know.
frustrating part. That's I think that's the downfall of us. Like we so wanna like move away, and we so want to like invest in other people and other, like we want American stuff, we want Dutch stuff, whatever, but what about all the talent that we're like overlooking on the island? And I think the pandemic really like kind of changed that narrative a bit, because a lot of like the 20 something year olds that would be working or away here and there or whatever, a lot of them went back to the island. And I feel like now there's like this super cool community of like people who study different things, who have traveled, and they're back on the island now, and they're like creating this new community and starting little businesses and doing cool shit, you know? So that is a big step in the right direction, a huge step in the
For
right
real.
direction. And I think that's what made me consider like moving back home. And it's still kind of like something that I'm thinking about and working on, because I do want to like go there and start something for the younger me who is still there, you know, like the younger people who they want to like try photography, they want to try makeup, they want to, you know, dabble in these creative things, but there's nowhere for them to go. Where are they gonna go?
Exactly.
Nowhere, you know, like
Exactly. Exactly. Like I was literally thinking the other day, I'm like, why does St. Martin not have a comedy like studio? I'm like, don't we have comedians? I'm like, but I've never like we've never had like we have all these nightclubs that we could have one comedy club in Simpson Bay. Are you serious? Nobody could have thought of that.
it's not tourist driven, so it doesn't seem like a priority. And then they wonder why all the young talented people just leave and we stay stuck, you know? It's pretty frustrating, and I think there are a lot of creative people who've tried to pave the way or have paved some way, like Clara Reyes, for example. You know, she paved the way for like all these dancing students, and
She really did. She's
she's done
incredible.
so much, you know, and that's just in dance. You know, where is that person when it comes to makeup or like,
Literally everything
yeah,
else.
where are those people, and why are they not being supported by our government is what I want to know, because that's a priority, and that's huge industries that we're missing out on, you know, to like, I don't know, it's frustrating.
No, you're 100% correct. Like But I feel like I want people to just believe in themselves, so like they don't always have to think about the government. They just have like they know they want better for our community, so they just start trying. And then when you have enough people that are willing to build a better future, you just work together and you can get there. So it's like that's why I feel like collaboration is so important, and I feel like competition is really like uh not the right way to look at life sometimes, because it's like really what we should be doing is collaborating on making the world a better place by sharing our unique gifts or like taste or skills or
Yeah,
interests, instead of it being like, oh, I can't do it because
she's
Charlotte
yeah,
already is out here doing it and people already like her studio, and like what would they look, like, no, like just try, like you need more voices. Like we need more. Like more is never
bad.
bad in when it comes to this stuff. And I feel like when people say like, "Oh, it's not tourism driven," I think it's completely wrong. Like why wouldn't Netflix, who already films stuff on St.
Mhm.
Martin, not want to film a stand-up comedy series, which they are readily doing on the regular, of Caribbean comedians that don't get a lot of
Exposure.
yeah,
Mhm.
exposure, when they know they could be the first to do that. They're doing this in like other countries. We don't even have anything to give them
Exactly.
to show them, "Hey, look at what we've got
Yeah.
here." Like I was talking to Terry about how Gunna's album was like, number 1, and it was recorded in St. Martin, and I'm like, "Okay, okay. Now that that was done, is there a reason why our artists can be like supported in this avenue? Is there a reason government isn't backing our own albums, our own rappers, our own singers, our own producers? Like these are things that like our culture has such a unique voice. I'm like, that is of
Yeah.
value. Other people will see it because you can't get it anywhere
Mm,
else. That is of value. Our people deserve it. Like, I want to hear my own comedians because their jokes are going to be funnier to me because I get it. You know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, why wouldn't I want to wake up and then my first podcast be a voice from my island that I'm familiar with, and I can hear the roosters in the background and
Yes.
like all of the things that just make St. Martin. I'm like, that is of value. I'm like, I don't understand why we don't see it. I'm like, guys, like you're sitting on gold,
Exactly.
literally, like sitting on it. You're sitting on gold.
Yeah. But I think the crabs in a bucket mentality is like slowly but surely changing. I think it started like in my generation, kind of like us 20-year-olds or 20 something year olds are now like, actually I can just start my own podcast. Like we're starting to just keep it moving, and like you said, it doesn't all have to be a competition. And I think that's like a narrative that I'm still trying to unlearn. Like sometimes you still have that kind of like, oh, that's what she's doing, or like even when I speak to like my parents, they say stuff like that, and then I'm like, it's not like that. Why are we still thinking that way? We're so small already. Like the only way we can like show ourselves to the rest of the world is if we bring each other up.
We gotta be
We gotta
loud. We gotta be loud as hell. That they can't ignore us. Like that's how loud we
be
gotta be. And it's like we St. Martin's already loud. Just record it and put it on the internet. Like
literally. And
I'm like, we make it ourselves. Like literally just film the people them. That's already a reality show. Like just film
oh
it.
my
Like
god, imagine
seriously.
we had a reality show. Lit. Lit.
Gold. Gold, a Real Housewives of St. Martin? Come on
Sign me
now.
up.
Come on now.
Sign me up.
Like, I'm just like, the gold, it writes itself. I'm like, it literally writes itself. I'm like, guys, we are sitting on
Yeah.
gold.
But it's we're getting somewhere. I can't say that we're like nothing is happening. Things are happening. People are starting to do things, and the creatives are like slowly but surely like paving their way. I feel like there are a lot of cool people on the island doing cool stuff now, and yeah, because of the internet, we're all so much more connected, and we can keep up with each other. So I think we're on the right track. Hopefully,
I feel
we live.
you. I think so too.
Hopefully, we live to see all of it.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I don't know. I've been hearing about like advancements in genetics. They trying to make us live longer, Charlotte. So we may not even. Who knows what the future got in store? We may. What is death? Might just be an option. Be like, okay, I'm ready
Oh
today.
my
I
god. Don't
guess.
even I don't wanna talk about that kind of stuff. I can't handle that stuff. Girl,
No worries.
stress.
I guess like, how can people follow in your creative journey? Like as you continue to develop unique creative projects and like or they just want to see like productions that you put on or other products that you are going to sell and make or just other avenues or mediums in which you will choose to express yourself like follow when you go back on YouTube and after this you got to tell me what your YouTube is cuz now I'm going to binge watch it all night, I
Well,
swear.
it's all my videos have been taken down.
Really?
Yeah, and that, like since years ago when I decided to stop, I like put all of them on private. So it's like I don't even know if you can see my page if you search it. But I really, really want to make a comeback on YouTube. But YouTube is
Come
so
back.
much work.
I
YouTube
feel
is
you. It
next
is.
level. Like
It really is a lot of work.
it is. I was like, I remember I didn't have a laptop. I literally would go to my friend's school because at her school they had like iMacs, and I would sit there and edit at her school till they closed the school just to like get a bit further in editing one video. And then I would post the video and get like 200 views. I was like, never mind. So I
But you gotta keep going. I think it's just because like the market, like St. Martiners don't know about St. Martin YouTube. This is the problem. I think it's an awareness issue. I don't think it's that it's there's not value. I think there is value. I just think our people aren't even aware that they have this stuff at their hands that they're not watching it. But I can assure you, if other kids knew and adults knew that there were YouTube channels by St. Martiners about shit that they wanted to learn about,
yeah,
they finna watch
that's
it. They finna watch
that's
it.
true.
They finna watch it for sure.
Yeah.
It's a slow road, I
Mm-hmm.
think, but we will get
We'll get
there.
there.
Trust me. If I gotta scream and get on every radio station for them to know, it's finna happen.
Yeah, that's like for the next few months, that's gonna be my focus. Like just my own content and my putting myself out there a bit more online. Because I think like I wanted to like focus on other people for a bit of time just because of my own limiting beliefs. I was like, I still want to be
Mm.
creative, but I don't want to be like,
Separate yourself from that. I know it's a struggle. You gotta separate. You got it, man. You have all the skills within you. You got it. You know you do.
thank
Just
you.
don't let that thought, don't let them doubts win. Don't let them.
We're fighting them every day, sis.
Every day. I feel you. I feel.
But yeah. And just I want to share more like vulnerable content like this because you like we spoke about, like you always think the other person is doing better, but the YouTubers I relate with the most are the ones who are like, I feel like shit today, or they just tell their
There's
yeah, they
honest.
just they're vulnerable, they're honest, and they just share like their process of doing stuff. Like I'm a YouTube freak. I love YouTube. I literally spend more time on YouTube than any other platform.
I love YouTube too. It's
I feel like
fantastic.
it's gotten a little less cool for some reason. Like I feel like the explore page or whatever, like it doesn't show me new videos more often, but I guess I have to get premium. Is that what it is?
I have no idea. I ain't paying for nothing. They gonna have to
Yeah,
keep
I was
me on that free.
every time I'm like skip, even though I pay for Netflix, like I should probably just pay for YouTube. But anyways,
I ain't even trying to pay for Netflix. I thank my parents for that.
oh, Prime is better though.
I feel you. They had that one show where there was like the girls surviving out on the island. That show was fire. Oh my god, I had to binge that whole thing in a sitting. It was too good.
Okay, now you have two shows that you have to tell me the names of.
I gotta even find the name because I don't even know what it's called, but it's so good. Like, ooh, it was so good. But I guess like, do you have like a website, or can folks should folks just follow your Instagram to really keep up with
For
Charlotte?
now, it's Instagram. So my creative page is dreamfish.studio, and my personal is just Charlotte Nicole. I'm gonna be working on a website. I got a lot of work to do. I got a lot of content backed up. So that's kind of like why I took like a bit of a gap right now to just situate everything, make a proper website, and just get some clarity on like the direction I want to take creatively and with my entrepreneurial ventures.
I
Um,
feel you. I
so
feel
yeah,
you.
for now, just Instagram is my main focus. I love TikTok though. TikTok for my personal stuff. Like my TikTok is more popping than my Instagram actually. So my TikTok is Char Nicole, char.nicole with two R's. Yeah.
Sweet. Because do you have any tips of wisdom for other creatives that are like, I want to be cool like you, but I'm scared?
um, I think give yourself time. Like it doesn't all have to happen now. And that's something I had to learn the hard way because I would beat myself up about not posting or not being creative or whatever. But sometimes you need that break to like go hard. So I think mm, just taking the time, and also you don't have to like publish everything you do. Like sometimes I really like to just paint and just do it for fun, because I just have to be creative, but it doesn't always have to be attached with like being public about it, and I think
I feel
that
you.
is the pressure that we have nowadays with the online world. You feel like, okay, I gotta show what I make, or like people are waiting to see what I'm doing, but no, that's not it, you just have to give yourself time and be ready to like do that. And yeah, just don't be so hard on yourself. Like we discussed, everyone thinks the other person is cooler, everyone thinks the other person is doing better, but we all just out here trying. So just try your best, be nice, spread love. And yeah, that's I think that's what it is. Yeah.